Hi everyone, my name is Jade and welcome to Learn Business with Jade, the channel where I share all the tips and tricks and lessons I've learned along the way while launching and running my exclusive tall women's fashion brand, Rosanna London. Today I'll be talking about all the things you need to know before fabric shopping. If I'm going to be completely honest, fabric sourcing / shopping is one of my favourite things to do for the brand, especially because my brand is a custom manufacturing brand, i.e. I don't make the products myself. So apart from designing, fabric sourcing where I can actually see, it's the first point, the beginning of when I start to see my designs in my head come to life before I see the first sample. However, there are many areas where I went wrong, especially someone that's not a fashion professional and someone that didn't study fashion at university or college. So I have no professional fashion experience, and these are kind of things I wish I knew beforehand. First thing I wish I knew is how important it is to have a design / a basic idea of what you're going to be making. Now, when fabric shopping, you've got two choices. Like, you can kind of go there with two different mindsets. Either you're going there with the aim of buying, or you're going there with the aim of kind of looking for inspiration. If you're going there for the aim of buying, which essentially the main thing you'll be doing if you're going down the route that I go down, i.e. custom manufacturing, i.e. you're not making the products yourself, you're going there with design in mind, and that cuts down your time so much. A lot of these fabric wholesalers, actually all of them, they're absolutely massive, and it could take you more than a day to go through every single piece, like every single roll of fabric and every single type of fabric. So with like jersey cottons, they could have hundreds colors, maybe it'll be ribbed, maybe it won't, like the width and so on and so forth. So you really want to cut down your time, because otherwise you will get extremely overwhelmed if you have no idea what you're looking for. So I'll definitely say have an idea of what you're making in mind, or at the very least have an idea of the fit you're looking for. So for example, if you're making a bodycon dress, you're going to need something like a jersey cotton, but if you buy like a cotton poplin, it's not going to work for what you're looking for. This is important whether you're making something yourself or you're kind of guessing someone else to manufacture it for you, because you don't want to waste your time and you don't want to waste your money. Otherwise you end up with loads of fabric that you can't use. This happened to me. I'm currently looking at about, I don't know, 8 to 9 meters of fur fabric that didn't work for what I needed it for, and it's just kind of sitting in my room. I don't even know what to do with it. And if I had known beforehand, I had like a clear idea of what I was looking for before I went, then I would have saved my time and saved the kind of the waste of money that's literally sitting in my room waiting to be used. Secondly, as I mentioned before, these large wholesalers can actually get you feeling super overwhelmed. So to avoid that, I'd advise going to smaller shops first to kind of get a feel, literally physically get a feel of the fabric, but also get an idea of fabric styles and what you're actually looking for. This is super important. If you've never been fabric shopping before, the closer you come to fabric is just the clothes that you wear. You've never actually seen it on a roll or something like that, because it's so different. If you're in London, I'd recommend going to Gold Hawk Road, purely because there's so many different shops and they literally have every single fabric you can think of. And in the smaller shops, the customer service is a lot better. They'll kind of talk to you, they have a lot more time for you, and they also sell fabric by the meter, and they'll also offer samples. A lot of the bigger wholesalers don't. So that's really useful. If you can go there, get samples and make a little sample book so you know what you're looking for when you go to the bigger wholesalers. However, point number 3, do not buy from the smaller shops. They are so much more expensive, and they may not even have that fabric for a long period of time. I'll explain, but let me focus on why you shouldn't buy from them, and based on the price. So the smaller shops, they buy from the wholesalers, but the markup is insane. So for example, there's a fabric that I saw on Gold Hawk Road for £25 a meter, an absolutely stunning fabric, everything. But for example, for a mini dress, it could take maybe 2 meters to make a mini dress for a tall woman. That's really £50 on fabric alone. That's not lining, that's not zips, that's not actually paying the manufacturer to make it, that's not sampling costs, that's not labels, you see. So if I kind of chose that fabric much that I loved it, it could cost me like £100 to make the dress. That's without profit, that's without kind of adding any other kind of cost. So obviously that's not realistic. I then found the exact same fabric, same colour, same quality for £2.75 a metre at the wholesalers. That's a ridiculous markup. That's not even, that's 10 times the price. So this is why I would not recommend in any way, shape or form going to wholesalers. Going to the smaller shops like Gold Talk Road or any of the kind of smaller ones. I think they have some in Dalston as well. Purely because they're really good for like customer service and trying to find out and like starting your fabric knowledge journey. But pricing wise, they're an absolute rip-off. I would 0 out of 10 don't recommend them at all. So the fourth thing I wish I knew is it's really important to find out the level of stock or how much stock the fabric wholesalers or wherever you buy your fabric from have. So you might find amazing fabric, you might buy, I don't know, 10 meters to test it on different sizes, sample, so on and so forth. You love the fabric, then you go back and the fabric isn't there anymore, they've sold out, they're not making it anymore. Now, unless you know a clothing mill, i.e. people that actually make the fabric, that's you done. You cannot release that piece you're completely over, and not really completely over, but you know, like that piece that you've loved, you've refined, you've kind of spent money on, doing samples and so on and so forth. You're now stuck. You have to start the process all over again, fabric sourcing. So it's really important to make sure that that is one of their core lines, and if not, buy as much fabric as you can if you're really passionate about that fabric. This is something I really wish I knew, because there's a fabric that literally I found 18 months ago, sampled it, everything. I've actually got a dress. I wore one of the dresses in Miami. I'll put a photo here. I was like, yep, it's going to be released, so on and so forth. They've run out of fabric. The fabric is no longer like at the shop, nowhere. And I've kind of gone to 3 different fabric sources. So I'm going to try out a 4th, hopefully by the end of September. Fingers crossed. But that is so upsetting. I wish I knew it beforehand, because either it's a case of buy out all the fabric you can of that fabric, or just don't start. Like, don't, it's like the whole thing of don't try on a dress you can't afford, because when you fall in love, what do you do now? Is that kind of thing of don't make a sample of the fabric that might not be available later down the line. So the last kind of tip I have, it's a really good idea to learn some lingo. Just small things like the difference between jersey, cotton and like cotton poplin, or knowing if you want a velvet versus, I don't know, a chiffon, for example, is really important. A good tip to kind of learn this based on your wardrobe is if you pick out any piece in your wardrobe that you like the look of, you like the feel of, go online to the place you bought it from, and at the bottom of the page of, so for example, this top is from Zara. If I go onto this page online, I scroll down to the bottom, it will have the fabric composition along with the wash instructions, like wash at 30 degrees or whatever. And there you can just copy and paste that, pop that into Google, and then Google will tell you what the name of the fabric is, because you might see this just a stretchy knit, so like, what do I call this? And then you'll be able to get the fabric name that way. And so when you're going fabric shopping, you can say, oh, this is what I want, and you know the name. It's also easy for them to help you, because if you haven't been to a fabric wholesaler before, you cannot imagine the size. And this is just in the UK. And the UK doesn't have like really big ones compared to the rest of the world, because a lot of fabric isn't actually made in the UK. And if you go to places like China, their fabric places are massive. I don't even know how to describe the size of the ones in the UK. There may be at least kind of like at least like a house of, at least the height of a house, like a 2-story average house at the very least, and inside is just fabric. So it's a lot easier for you to kind of try and help get the people to signpost you to the right place, and then you can get there and like decide on colours and like ribbed versus not ribbed and so on and so forth. Is if you're looking at, what's the other one, wrong side fabrics, that's a fabric that isn't the side that would be on the outside, the side that won't be shown, and kind of figuring out, is this worth your money? Because you figure out the quality and just things like that. If you know what you're talking about, it's easier to communicate versus saying, I want something that's a bit stretchy like this, and like trying to do weird hand signals or whatever. Just have a quick Google. Like even for me, for example, for my most recent piece, the Sarai dress, I went with Duchess satin, which is called Pois de Silk or something like that. It's basically a sturdy satin. I don't know how to describe it. They use a lot for wedding dresses, and that's the fabric I had in mind, because I saw another piece. I said, yep, love this, but I ended up buying the wrong fabric because I just didn't know what I was talking about. So it's just a lot. If you have the knowledge, it saves you time. It enables the people at the the fabric wholesalers that have terrible customer service to help you, and ultimately the more efficient you are, the warmer they are towards you, and they just tend to be a lot nicer. So that is literally what I'd recommend. But that is it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends that you think will find it useful, and follow us on Instagram, this page on Instagram at Learn Business with Jade, and I will see you next time. Bye.